This is the Bill Squire Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Bill Squire Show. I am your host, Bill Squire, and this is a very exciting episode. I got my buddy AJ here, and the sound is hooked up correctly this time, so we're going to have a much better showing by AJ this time because of before it was my incompetence, and now it's because of my competence. Well, it's called redemption.
Let's not make any guarantees.
Yeah, okay, that's a good call. That's a good call. Man, I am the fattest I've been in a while.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Quarantine and just, like, being in love and stuff.
Oh, yeah?
It's not good for me. It's not good for me, my weight. And then I got this dog, and I walk a lot. Like, I exercise and all that stuff. I do all the stuff that I'm supposed to do, but I'm just eating too much.
Well, have you tried eating less?
You know what? I don't like eating less. That's the problem.
Right?
That's the problem. I like eating so much. Eating so it just fills a hole in my heart.
Have you ever like looked at yourself in the mirror and then you're just I wish I was dead, but then you were just like I don't want them to see me like that.
Nah, like I don't think of that like because I know that once I'm dead, then I don't care anymore.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't matter. But it's one of those things where it's like I know what it takes to get skinny. Like I got real skinny for a while, and it was very hard. I just I need to get back to it, but I need to do it in a healthier way, not like a crash way. But I'll get there, or maybe I won't. I don't hate how I look. If I lost like 25,
I think you look great. Bill.
If I lost like 25 or 30 pounds, I'd be pretty happy with that. That'd be solid for me. Sorry, the dog's being a crying little whiny bitch.
It's okay.
It's annoying. Yeah, she'll stop a little bit. So, AJ, last time you were on, you sang a song.
I did.
Talked about Kurt Cobain and if we could have saved him. And your answer was very sincere, and I appreciated it.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Mine was a little sillier. I actually turned it into a bit for stand-up.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad that I could have helped in that way.
And then I got this thing right here. It's supposed to be like a waterfall, but it keeps coming back towards me. I feel like when we talk, it like tries to enter our body. Like little hippy dippy shit over here.
You're setting the mood.
Yeah, I know. I just I like calming visuals.
This is the Bill Squire sex show.
Yeah, that's right. So I the reason I brought up the Kurt Cobain bit is I'm working on like the order of a joke is so important, and I think I have it finally figured out for the beats, and it's such an exciting thing when you figure out those beats and you go like, okay, I think I got something here.
Yeah, I do stand up a little differently from how you do it, but I know what you're talking about because the way I do it, it's predicated on beats.
Yeah.
It's predicated on like time. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, you write jokes, you write like setup punch kind of jokes. So I write more like storytelling kind of a little longer form style. Yeah. And so like this bit, just the idea is that I feel like I'm a good enough friend now that if I was friends with Kurt Cobain, I would be able to help him get out of his depressive funk and really save his life.
I'm not denying that you're a very good friend. I'm denying the fact that you could save Kurt Cobain.
You don't know what I was, but I mentioned on the episode 4, I'm going to get him to take a bath, wash his sweater.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. So that's going to get him, he's going to feel a little bit better then.
You look good, you feel good.
You look good, you feel good kind of thing. Or feel good, you look good. Whatever it is. Just feel, but you'll feel clean, and that's an important thing.
Well, what are you going to do about the heroin stuff?
So the heroin is a replacement. So he's going to get a little chubbier. We're going to have a chubbier Kurt Cobain.
Okay.
But that's going
that's better than a dead Kurt Cobain.
But that's going to be better for his, that's going to set up his reality dating show on VH1 all these years later. Love-shaped box.
Love-shaped. I like that.
Yeah. So then the key is, when you're feeling that way, when you feel like there's nothing in the world, you want to do something drastic. And so he goes all the way to, committing suicide or taking heroin or something like that. and then you don't have to go that far.
You
Get a haircut. Even if it's a bad haircut, then you can hate your haircut. You don't have to hate yourself.
You take your mind off of it.
Right. So the way the joke ends, and we'll see how people respond to it, but I'll just give it away right here. Is basically the way the joke ends. Is it goes. So yeah, we're gonna cut your hair, and even if you hate, I know you love your hair, it'll grow back because it's hair. So you don't have to worry about that. Courtney, sit down. We do not cut hair with a shotgun.
I did. That's so funny. Okay, so like,
is it okay if I just run bits on you?
yeah, no, that's totally fine. I actually, I wrote a 10-page paper in high school about the Kurt Cobain death.
Oh, really?
About the conspiracy. Yeah.
I don't know if I like this anymore.
No, it's kind of like, yeah.
It's all over the place.
I don't know how I'm going to sing with that coming at me.
Well, by the time we get to your singing, I think it'll be burned out because
okay.
it burns pretty quickly. So I think we're going to be okay in that field, but it's not. I need a different place for it. Maybe I can get like a little table over here to put it more off to the side.
Whoopsie doesn't like it either.
Yeah, Whoopsie doesn't like anything right now. So I like talking things out with you. So I like the idea of like things being a writer's room. Like that's what I think of when I think of podcasts. Like a fun podcast is like a writer's room. Interviews are one thing, but like a guy like you who's clever and funny, I like to throw out some premises. And I think this week, my interview with the Instagram hottie was she's pretty religious.
Okay.
So we were talking about religion, and I would like to delve into what kind of religion would you like to create? Because I think I would like to make a more approachable cult.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like all cults are approachable at the beginning.
Right, but then they go into overdrive, and that's where you lose me. That's where you lose me.
They take things too far.
I don't want anything that's every week. I don't want it every day. I want something that is every couple weeks, maybe twice a month, something like that. I don't want to have to overcommit to it. I want some principles in place. I want some guarantee of salvation, but I don't want it to take over my entire life.
That sounds like kind of like being a Methodist.
Okay. All right. So maybe I should look into that.
Maybe look into Methodism. I don't know. If I was going to start I think the Manson family kind of about like,
yeah,
like the first third of it was like kind of okay.
All right.
I mean, I'd like to take a shower.
Yeah.
Or like, not kill people. Communal living is kind of great. I take back everything I said. I don't think the Manson cult is very good.
No, I was wanted to see where you're going with it.
No, I wasn't.
And I'm glad that you abandoned it.
I jumped ship. I think if I was going to start a cult, I'm actually kind of satisfactory with atheism.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm kind of okay with it.
But it's not culty enough.
Well, I mean, some atheists
go that way.
Pretty militant.
But, all right, so I want something that is. I guess I kind of just want a club. When it comes to
just become a Shriner.
Just like maybe I'll just start smoking cigars and going to cigar bars.
Like one of those fezzes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I want a
go
cult,
to the Schwitz. That's kind of a cult.
Oh, I do. Yeah, but I don't think you're supposed to talk about it.
Oh, I mean, I've gotten invited by several people.
You've never gone?
I've never gone.
That's fantastic.
I hear it's fantastic. People. Okay, for people who don't know what a Schwitz is, it's explain. Like,
okay, so it's the one in particular, or if I were to go to one, because I think they like to keep it pretty low key.
Right.
It's an old, like basically it's like a restaurant, but it's set up like an old cafeteria, and then they have like this one room that is for massages, and then they have like the pool downstairs where you go to cool off after you do the Schwitz, and then there's the actual like sauna area,
which is the Schwitz.
The Schwitz, yeah. And it's just it's a cool hang. I like it.
I hear that, and I believe it is.
Uh-huh.
But the way people approach me about going with them to the Schwitz, it's very aggressive.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, you gotta go.
Well, because it's that good.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it, but
that's the thing too. Is that's another thing with my cult.
Yeah.
You can't be over enthusiastic about it. It's like when you're trying to sell a friend on a new song that you like. You got to check out this song. If someone tells me that I'm gonna love a song, almost every time I'm gonna be like, this song sucks. Yeah, you oversold it. You love this movie. Oh, I don't like this movie. Oh, you're gonna love the show. I don't love the show because you oversold it. Don't oversell things to me. Let me make up my
Are
mind.
you overselling the Schwitz to me right now?
No, I'm trying to undersell it.
You're trying to undersell it for me.
So what I'm trying to say is the hang is fun.
Okay.
The food is great. And when you get done, you feel good.
Okay. I like that.
It's good conversation. It's a lot of camaraderie, and it's like, and it is whatever you want it to be.
What kind of food?
Well, they have like giant steaks,
Oh, okay.
but then you can also bring whatever you want to.
Do they have like chicken nuggets?
No chicken nuggets, but you can bring them.
I don't think I'm going to
Yeah.
Schwitz. I have chicken nuggets.
You can,
Bill.
I said you can bring them if you want.
Oh, all right. Well,
Bring whatever you want. Like when we go, we take like like meats and cheeses and kind of
Oh, like that's a word.
Charcuterie.
Charcuterie. Yeah.
yeah. So we'll do that for a little
like that
bit,
word.
and then we'll go and schwitz a few times, have a little bit of like bourbon or something, and then go back down. Then drink a bunch of water to like rehydrate, and just it's a day. Like you're just having a day.
So how long do you usually spend there?
Usually I'm like anywhere from like 4 to 8 hours. Like,
Can we do the show out of there one day?
I don't know if they'd allow that, but maybe.
Yeah, we should ask.
I can ask. It doesn't hurt to ask if they even. I don't even know. Well, they usually close for the summer, so they're probably not going to open again until fall.
Well, they might not even be open this fall.
Yeah,
due to
exactly.
the virus.
Yeah. So, I like the idea of starting a very casual cult or a religion. I want to be tax exempt. I think that'd be fun. I think that'd be the ideal situation. I don't think enough people take advantage of that.
No, being tax exempt.
I mean, the people that
great.
do are like scumbags. But why can't I be a scumbag? Why can't I take advantage? Like, be like, oh, this is Jesus based, but mostly we're gonna just watch SNL movies, and then take what we can from them. Like, what can we learn from these SNL movies?
Right.
Is there good things? There's bad things. Are there lessons? And do that with mediocre comedies.
All right. I'm in. I would join that cult. I don't see a point not joining that cult. I don't know if I would give tidings to it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I would like.
I think it's tithings.
Tithings?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you're not a very religious guy, huh?
No, I'm not. I never was.
Well, what if it's more like dues? Like it's almost like a. I think what I'm describing right now is a Patreon where it's just you talk about SNL movies.
Just get a timeshare.
Yeah,
That's kind of a cult.
yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. It's culty.
Hey, tell you what, my mom works with this timeshare company where you can like trade timeshares with other people, and so you can kind of do it on your schedule wherever you want to go.
That's pretty.
And
cool.
I'm going to the Poconos this weekend, and it was dirt cheap because of that.
You went this weekend?
I'm going this weekend.
Oh,
so I'm going out
okay.
of town on vacation.
When are you coming back?
Next week on Thursday.
Oh, okay, cool.
So this will air while I'm on vacation.
Well, that's cool.
And this is pretty cool. Oh, I don't know if I can. Hopefully, I can pull it up without wrecking everything. I got a phone number. Oh, I got it right here. Look at this. You can call the Bill Squire Show and leave a message now. Call the Bill Squire Show, 216-302-8783, and leave me a message, and I might play it here on the show. I prefer, it to be fun. I get people like to bust balls and be shitty and stuff like that.
Tell us
if that's
about
what
your
you want,
cult.
I don't really. Yeah, tell us what your cult would be.
Tell us what your cult would be.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Tell us what your cult would be, and let me know what you think of the podcast. Whatever you want to say, really. I can take it. I don't want to have to weed through a bunch of people thinking they're funny or just trolling stuff and being douchebags.
Yeah, and you'll find out what people are really, because you give them a little bit of power.
Yeah.
That's how you find out who people really are.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I was wearing this NASA shirt today, and I went on a long walk with my dog, and there was a mom and her daughter. The daughter was wearing a NASA shirt, and the mom goes, "Oh, NASA." And my joke, whenever someone points out like a NASA shirt, is I go, "Oh, I don't work there. I just shop there." And they get a little giggle, and the mom goes, "Well, she wants to work there someday." And I go, "Oh, that's adorable. She's a woman. Of course not." I didn't say that. I was like encouraging. I was like, that would be great. I hope she does. I hope she gets to work there
I'm
someday.
rooting for her.
Yeah.
Every time I have a NASA shirt, every time I wear it and I go to the gas station, there's this guy who's a flat earther. Mm-hmm. He baits me in, and I'm at this gas station for 2 hours.
Yeah.
and I just stopped going to the gas station.
So you'll take that bait from someone that's a flat earther?
I absolutely do. I have to not put myself in the situation. I stopped going to that gas station.
That was your solution.
That was my
not to engage the guy.
Not getting engaged with him. I'm just gonna stop going there altogether.
I think you got to face your fears and go there and.
Well, I'm not afraid of him.
Well, but you gotta face the situation and let him know that you're not interested in talking to him about his nonsense.
I did, but it still happens. Like if you okay, so you can.
Step one to join the cult right there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just get me.
Just get you worked up.
Just get me worked up.
Let everybody know your weaknesses.
It's just so dumb.
It's incredibly dumb.
It's so stupid.
But they don't believe in it because it's true. They believe in it because it makes them feel like they're interested.
You know what the biggest thing that I have with conspiracy theorists? Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, there are legitimate real conspiracies.
I agree.
There are legitimately real things.
Like cover-ups and things like that.
For sure. But
flat earthers
it's not a conspiracy.
It's not a conspiracy.
It's true.
It's true. It's like they figured it out before we had satellites or anything like that the earth is round. They know that.
The big thing that I have with it is when they say you can't trust the media, man. You can't trust the media. But then they believe every YouTube video.
Right, exactly.
They watch. They're just like, oh no, I saw on Rogan. On the Rogan show.
And not even they'll go deeper than that and they'll be like, well, Rogan's actually
he's in deep state.
He's deep state. But they'll believe whatever YouTube video that they see with real straw man science, whatever, all this confirmation bias that they use to kind of do whatever they want to do or feel however they want to feel or justify whatever their belief is. There's a great documentary on Netflix called what is it called? God damn it. I did a Flicks and Bill on it, but it's all about flat earth and flat earthers and Beyond the Curve, I think it's called.
Okay.
And so they do experiments on the documentary several times where they prove that the earth is round and they just kind of go up. That wasn't it. So they bought this $20,000 I can't remember what it's called, but this device that was supposed to somehow prove that hey, if we put this here, it's going to prove that the earth is not rotating. And then it shows that the earth's rotating. It proves that the earth is rotating, and they're like, oh, there must be some interference. They go through all these other steps, and no, it's just the earth is rotating. The earth is round. Yeah, you have to deal with that. And then there's another one where they go and they set up these big foam boards with a laser on one end, and they go 1.5 miles or something, or whatever, however long they need to go to prove the curvature of the earth. And they go, well, what's going to happen because the earth is flat is I'm going to turn on this laser. It's super powerful. You're going to be able to see this laser come through and hit right at this spot on this board.
Right.
And then they go and they do it, and they go, all right, so we put the laser in, and at first they can't see it, and they go, okay, now hold it higher. And so they hold it higher, and then it shows up on the board because the
earth is round.
The earth is round.
The earth is round.
Yes. And it's hilarious. And but they still go,
the only defense they have when is just well, why do you think the earth is flat? And then they go, because it's not round.
Yeah.
That's literally all they ever say.
And that's why I don't really think they truly believe it. I think it's it is kind of a cult where they're making friends. They and even within that culture, there's a bunch of dissension where there's people oh, there's these ice walls and this dome situation, and there's other ones that think they all have their theories, and they're all trash.
I kind of like this cult idea now that I'm thinking about it.
All right, you got more ideas for cults? And again, I don't think it's a cult where you have to do a mass suicide.
No, no. I mean, there's plenty of cults that don't do that. I was in one. I was in a cult.
What cult were you in?
Oh, well, okay. I wasn't in a cult. There were. I kind of
went. Did I unlock something about AJ?
No. I kind of went. It was kind of like a culty thing, right? And I don't know what religion it was based.
If you end this with a blue oyster cult joke, I will be very happy, but also mad.
No. So I work at this place where I provided care for I provided care for adults with developmental disabilities.
Okay.
And I was the activities coordinator at this time, and my job at the time was to promote community integration, get these guys out and about. So my job was I for 48 individuals, I had to figure out a way to get all of them out 3 times a week.
Okay.
And
that's a lot.
That's
a lot of people to get out every week.
3 times a week. 3 times a week.
You said you never got it?
We never got it, but we came close, and that was good enough for a few years.
Like, what was was it like that you got out 3 times, but you didn't have everybody come back with you? Or like,
yeah, we just lost
we lost like 6 people.
You're free.
Yeah.
No, we lost a lot of good ones on that trip.
All right, good news. You guys don't have to pay for your family member anymore. Right? So that's good news. Bad news is it's because they're still at Niagara Falls somewhere.
That's right. We left them.
Yeah.
They wanted to stay. It's their right.
Yeah. They said they were thirsty. I was like,
we'll just leave them there. Yeah. So my coworker's just like, hey, I have this idea. And there was this like religious figure coming through, and I don't remember what, like I said, sect of whatever it was from. This was a long time ago. He's just like, I think we should take him.
Yeah.
I think we should take him. I'm like, okay. I mean, this is a kind of a religious thing. Like, how do we
justify that?
How do we justify this to the people who are like, practicing Christians and Jewish people and practicing Jews?
Right. Yeah. Cause it's not like you were at like a Christian developing disabled situation.
Right.
Like it was people from all over the place.
Yeah. And he's just like, well, it's more of a cultural thing. I'm like, okay, a cultural experience. Okay. Let's do that.
Sell it that way. All right.
We'll sell it that way. So we take them, and we get there. The second I walked in, there's this table, and there's this sign that says "Free Blessed Milk." And there's like these little saucer cups, like full of like milk in them. I'm like, this is weird. I'm starting to get like a weird feeling about it.
It's also one of those things where like you hear that and like thinking now about things. First of all, milk doesn't keep well, so that's really gross.
Right.
That's pretty gross. But also like in a post-coronavirus world, you're like, oh, I don't like the idea of just open infected milk all over the place.
I'm just like, I don't know what that is. And I was
blessed, so it should be okay.
So it was gonna be okay. So it was me and it was me and 2 coworkers, and the person that set this up was great, and I didn't really much care for the other one. So we're there, and I knew that it was getting kind of weird because this woman who they came to like see, who like came in through town, is like, speaking in tongues and like putting her hand on people's heads and like saying shit in a different language. Yeah. And like,
but it's like that speaking in tongue language. It's
yeah,
like, hey,
I don't know what she was saying. I don't know what she was saying.
Because you're not in tune with the Lord. Yeah,
I'm not in tune with the Lord, and she could have been speaking another language for all I know. I don't know what she was saying. So I but then she comes around to me, and everyone's just like watching me. I'm like, I didn't ask for this. Like, I'm like, this is
like,
ridiculous.
I'm not sick. Like, what are you doing?
I'm like, what are you doing? And she like puts her hand on me and says something. And my coworker, like the one that I kind of like, he just starts crying, and I'm just like, what? Like, what are you doing? And he's just like, do you know what she just did? I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't know what she just did. He's like, she just wiped 8 generations of karma away from you. Like negative karma or negative energy or something. And I'm just like, oh, okay, so I got that.
Oh, neat. I mean, I didn't know about it.
Yeah, so I got that going. And then my other coworker, the one that I'm not particularly fond of, goes, she didn't do the thing to me. And I'm just like, there's not enough. She doesn't have enough magic in her body to fix whatever the fuck's wrong with you.
I got 8 generations of karma. You got like 44.
Right, you fucking asshole.
Too much.
By the way, this was a coworker, not one of my individual clients. And then we're leaving. I get everybody on the bus, and I'm like, I'm driving the bus. I'm like, I'm turning on and stuff. And then I see my 2 coworkers coming out with like a whole bunch of saucers of blessed milk, and they bring it onto the bus. And I'm just like, what are you guys doing? And they're just like, we're gonna all do one. Do you want to do one? I'm like, not even a little bit. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And it was just such a weird experience. And I'm driving, and I hear my one coworker, the one I'm not fond of, go, "You need to take me to the hospital." I'm like, "Why do I need to take you to the hospital?" She's just like, "'Cause I'm allergic to nuts." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
So it's almond milk.
Yeah. So I take her to the emergency room, and the guy takes them into the emergency room, and he goes, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna make sure they get checked in. I'm like, okay, fine. And then he comes out, and I grab one of those saucers, and I down it. I just down one of the little things. He's like, "What made you change your mind?" I'm like, "That woman answered my prayers."
That is wonderful. I like that a lot.
Yeah. So
all right. So I'm thinking real quick about how my I mentioned for my cult, I want there to be some sort of salvation. And so I'm thinking it's going to be a very pleasant afterlife, but it's also going to be a little repetitive, but you're not going to know that it's repetitive. So what happens in my afterlife, in my cult that I'm going to start, is after you die, if you were a good person and you followed my teachings and you subscribed to all that, and you know, your debit card didn't bounce, like it didn't get declined or anything like that. If you're all paid up, because if you're not paid up, you don't get salvation. That's how religions and cults work. You get a great Saturday every day you wake up.
Is every day Saturday, or you have
every
to go
day
through the
Saturday?
week?
No, every day Saturday, but it feels like you went through a week. And it wasn't like the worst week, but it was just a tiring week. So you wake up on Saturday, you feel very refreshed, and then you have activities to do that day that are like, some of them aren't the best things to do, but they're like productive activities that give you
cutting the grass,
you know, cleaning up a little bit. And then you have
going to Best Buy.
Yes, things that you get to do, and it, you know, things that you like to do, but it's never the same thing twice. But it's always like you got some work to do, but it's like pleasant work, and then that evening you get to kind of cut loose whatever you like doing. Whether you're going to a concert, but it's a concert on a Saturday, so you don't have to worry about getting out. You're not worried about traffic, so it's like you know, it's not like a utopia perfection thing, but it's like you're living one of your best days again and again, and it gets switched up every day for eternity.
I like that.
And you don't remember it, like you think you're just living your life
as a Saturday. Like you kind of have do you have memories of a bad week?
No, you have memories of a long week. So like every week, like it kind of resets. So it takes like there's an algorithm that pulls different experiences that you had through your life and creates new scenarios each week. So it never feels repetitive.
Do you feel like you had a good Friday?
You feel like it was like...
Did you feel like you had a good Friday?
Yeah, you had a good Friday, but it was like still like you were a little tired. So like this Saturday's really, you wake really refreshed.
Okay.
Whereas you're not hungover or anything like that. You're not dreading something you have to do. You just wake up.
What time do you go to bed?
You know, usually there's not really like a hard time on it. It's one of those days where it just feels like it just flows all day.
Okay.
So you're never really, you know, you might even get to take a nap partway through that day without it resetting.
I like that.
Yeah, it doesn't sound very pleasant.
I like that cult. I would join it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, do you share this Saturday?
It's like the movie Memento, where you're waking up with certain memories every day, but you don't have to go and find the man that killed your wife. You just gotta cut the grass and go see a show that you wanted to see.
But what if a man killed your wife? Can you spend that Saturday trying?
It's an algorithm of what you want to do.
Okay.
So if that's something that you wanted to do, if you want to go be like a vigilante and hunt for somebody, it'll work its way in there.
I'll finally get to have my tickle fight with John Malkovich after all. Right. If you know what I mean.
I don't, and I don't want to know. No, I get it. All right, so now I'm going to play the Alan Cox Show Instagram hottie interview with Nicole, and then when we come back, AJ is going to sing us a song.
I'm going to sing a song.
Right. Welcome this week's Instagram hottie, Nicole.
Hello.
I thank you for being the featured Instagram hottie this week.
Thank you for asking me.
Thank you for replying. I have a submission, like people can submit, but not a lot of people do. So I've been just finding people that I'm friends with that I'm like, hey, you're good at this, you have an interest in this, and you're fun to talk to, and pretty girls too. But I think everybody, beauty's subjective. I like the people that are out there trying to do things, and you work on the promo team at the radio station, and you are one of the harder working people that I've met when it comes to the promo team, because a lot of people are like, oh, how do I get into broadcasting? How do I do this? How do I do that? Blah, blah, blah. And when I met you, you were already proactive in doing your own podcast and vlog and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was like, damn, I like that a lot.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a great compliment.
What made you want to get into like broadcasting and vlogging and all that stuff?
So basically I got my first camera in the summer of 2018, and I shortly after kind of went through like a breakup in December, and I was like, you know what? I've always had like this like drive to just want to like sit down and talk and do, and this was like right before I really knew what podcasts were, and right as podcasts were really hitting like their peak, at least in my circle of friends. Right. So I was like, I'll just start a YouTube channel and just start that. So I didn't have an official podcast, just kind of had like video of me talking. And then people were like, you should do a podcast. And I was like, okay. So I kind of changed it over into an official podcast.
And what's your podcast called?
Little Talks with Big Nikki.
Mm-hmm. And so you do the podcast and you do the video thing, kind of like I do.
Right.
Where I'm doing, I like to be on both platforms.
Right.
And it teaches you a lot because you have to learn different skills to do the audio thing. You have to learn how to, when you're presenting something that's visual, you have to learn how to describe it well. So it's
right.
It's it's a little tricky sometimes.
Yeah, it definitely is. And sometimes I forget as I'm talking, like, oh, not everybody's watching this.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Some people are just listening.
Yeah. So you have to kind of remind people of that. And then also, you hope that you get that crossover where like they'll listen to it and they'll hear you talking about something that is visual, and they'll be like, okay, I got to go see what's going on there.
Right.
So.
Right. There's a lot of crossover. I'll say like, hey, if you didn't see my vlog, like trying to cross traffic.
Yes, exactly.
Both things.
Yeah. So you started your podcast blog a couple of years ago while you were a student at CSU, right?
Yep.
And while you were there, you just graduated.
I did.
So you're one of the people that got to do like the whole virtual graduation thing. How was that?
Well, actually, so fun story. So I was a double major. So I was in the liberal arts college.
Is there something that we'll get to it. Listen, the starting a podcast when you're like 20 years old and like double major, we get it. You're really pushing. You work hard. All right.
I know. I'm not trying to brag, but I was saying that for the purposes of the story.
All right.
So I was a double major. So I was in the liberal arts and social sciences college and in the College of Business. So the way they did virtual graduation was they had two separate or, different videos for people to watch depending on what your major was, what college you were in. So I was on the College of Business, and I'm on the phone with my parents, and they're like, oh, and I was like seeing all the names of people I was in my like marketing class with. So I was like, oh, these are the marketing majors. My name's coming. So they're like, we're like gearing up for it. Literally like skips my name, not even there. So I wasn't even listed on the College of Business virtual commencement, but I was on the liberal arts one. So they like forgot me, didn't put me on both. I don't know what happened.
I mean, that's what you get from CSU. Like that's, I mean, the graduates there probably went to CSU. I
don't want all the blame to go to CSU because they used like a third party, but so there was some sort of miscommunication.
That's kind of a bummer.
It really was, because I was like on the phone with my parents and my mom was like all excited to like see my name, and then it like skipped over and we were like, what the heck?
That is pretty funny.
It would only happen to me.
Yeah. So you graduated. Now, what do you do in this kind of climate? You're out there, you're producing content, but I imagine it's not quite paying the bills that you want it to pay yet,
right?
If any. So how are you approaching life in the real world, as they say?
Right. Well, so I LLC'd myself back in February.
Okay, one more thing that like I've been doing this for 16 years, never LLC'd anything.
Well, so I was supposed to.
But that's probably your business acumen from college.
Right. So that's a Nicole M Media. So photography, video. I really enjoy both of those things. Dipping my toe more and more into video. as the time passes. So I was like, okay, post graduation, I know a lot of people. I've already got, network connections and experience lined up. I was like, I'll be fine to just do freelance. Like that was my game plan. Corona hit. And of course, I was furloughed from my heart. And obviously no one's doing video production at this point.
Right.
I actually just have my first gig coming up this Friday.
Okay.
So that's good at least, but it's very slow compared to the normal busy season of summer.
Yeah.
So I am now, which if you had told me this a year ago, I would have said you're crazy. I'm now nannying part-time for a couple I know from church, actually. So that was like a good opportunity. I just started this week. So, at least I have some money coming in from that. And then
How old are the kids you're nannying?
9 and 11.
9 and 11. Okay, so you're not changing diapers and stuff like that.
Right.
You're just, making sure that the house
doesn't burn down.
Mm-hmm.
Literally what I tell people. So that's been like a really big blessing. But then I also just got offered a internship position, which again, coming out of college, you don't really want to take an internship, but in these times it's like you do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Right. So it's content writing for a marketing agency. So we'll see how that goes because I haven't quite started yet. But
Okay, big picture scenario. What's your dream? What would be like the best case scenario for you?
best case, I would say would be me doing podcasts and vlogs and being able to make income off of that. I still think I would do at least some photography and video freelance just because I enjoy it. But yeah, I think best case would be,
Just
influencer.
the podcast and the blog taking off, or the vlog taking off, and really just being able to put all your energy into that.
Right. Eggs in one basket.
Yeah, exactly. So you mentioned that you go to church, and that's actually something I wanted to talk to you about because I don't know if you know my backstory at all, but I was raised in a very religious family and have very much left that behind.
Right.
And so but the religion I was brought up in is Mormons. I was, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and it just didn't really jive with who I was. And so I always like to talk to people that seem to have a good religious experience and try to see their point of view, because people give me a hard time a lot for being anti-religion, or I'm not really a believer or anything.
Right.
And I don't want to come off as like trying to belittle someone that is a good person that's, in it for the right reasons, because a lot of the problems I have with religion are the problems that someone like you, I imagine, has with religions, where they're, taking advantage of people, or they're, doing things like the Catholic Church was doing, and all that stuff that kind of makes the religions look real bad. Right. Versus I feel like you have a more balanced religion, where it's not as, with Mormons, it was all in, and it was very, this way or get out kind of thing. And it wasn't very forgiving.
Right. So what I say to people like you, because I've heard that time and again, I've had a bad experience with the church. Yeah. I've been burned before. I don't really want to go back, not feeling it. My thing is, like, first of all, none of us are perfect. So I believe, in my religion, Christianity, that we follow a perfect God, but we as humans are not perfect.
Right.
So,
and I understand all that, but you're also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that you are in a more progressive
we
Christian
are
church,
non-denominational.
Non-denominational, where you're not doing the whole like gay marriage is a sin against the world or anything like that. You're a lot more accepting, a lot more the way Jesus kind of had intended it is what I kind of pick up on. Right. And so I that's the kind of thing that I wish I had more experience with. But then also I've just, it's one of those things that I always like talking to a friend. Like I have a friend, my buddy, he's a comedian in Cincinnati, and he's like a religious guy, but he looks at a guy like Joel Osteen, he's like, nah, I don't really like that guy. That guy seems like kind of a prick. I'm like, hey, we can get along. Right. Yeah, we kind of have the same principles when it comes to this situation. Right. Yeah, we're definitely not all perfect. And I tell people too, it's about, I say it's not about religion, it's about relationship. Okay. So I think the problem with, and I can't speak to Mormon specifically because I don't know a lot about that, but I know my mom grew up Catholic, and she was very much, in the stricter Catholic, and they just didn't focus on the relationship with God, like you and God
individually.
Yeah.
It's just like a broad religion. So I tell people, like, you have to take that into account too.
Yeah.
That I tell people I'm more concerned about like your relationship with God one-on-one rather than like the religion as a whole. Because there might be things in every religion like you don't 100% agree with or you don't understand. And that's why I really love my church, because our pastor openly says, we want you to bring your doubts and your skepticism and your questions. Like, this isn't all going to make sense.
Okay, so here's a question that I would have to bring to your pastor, and we'll see if you can give me an idea of how.
Boy.
Yeah, I know. It's like
Put me in a hot seat.
You had posted something the other day about like, so like God's plan and like how it is. Sometimes life throws bad things at you.
Right.
We're in a time where a lot of bad things are happening.
Right.
You see those things out there, and then when I hear something like God's plan, I don't know how people perceive that, but I get upset in a way because I'm like, how is that God's plan for that person that didn't have a fair shot?
Right.
That stuff makes me upset, and it doesn't really make me feel like there is a plan.
Right. I get that question a lot because it's like, why do bad things happen to good people? Like, why?
Right. But and I understand bad things are going to happen to good people, but I'm thinking of like things where someone that was just minding their business has something very terrible happen to them. Right. And there's not really a lesson learned from it. It's more just, like the racism in the world and stuff like that, where it's rampant. And then people are co-opting religion to, to push their agenda.
Right. I think that the thing we have to remember is like racism did not come from God. Like that is
But didn't everything come from God?
I not everything. I mean, so God like created everything, but the problem is like as soon as the first sin happened, sin entered the world, and racism is a result of a deep-rooted sin.
Okay. Hatred,
right? And it destroys the heart, and it manifests itself into.
I keep messing that up. So, all right. So, but God made everything,
right?
So he made sin in a way, because they're his rules. Part. It's his rules,
right?
So he said you can do this and you can't do this. So if he made the good stuff, he had to make the bad stuff, and so that's the stuff that makes me like. Just go, I can't figure it out. But I understand that that's not what you're supposed to focus on.
Right. I think he was trying to protect us from the bad stuff, though.
Okay.
Because it was supposed to be a perfect world as long as humans lived in obedience. And I think that's the constant issue.
So the original sin was the what broke it all off?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Because they ate from the tree of knowledge.
Yeah.
Right. And then that exposed them to what we would call the bad things that God was trying to keep them from exposing themselves to.
All right.
Well, actually,
I don't want to get too deep into like a whole religious thing, but I just wanted to ask you some questions like that.
Right.
All right. You are about to move to the Lakewood area. Where'd you grow up at?
I am from Ashtabula County.
Okay.
I tell people that because I live in between pretty much Chardon and Geneva.
Mm-hmm. I know the area.
Yeah. Half the people know and half the people don't. So I call it Amish country because literally Amish all on my road. And when I came to Cleveland State, some kids thought I didn't have electric because I said I lived with Amish people.
Well, you call it electric and not electricity. So maybe they're like a little right. Oh, like it's a little bit.
Okay, electricity. Asterisks.
Well, thank you. We're gonna cut this off now.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm just saying this is about the length that I do for these interviews. And where can people find you on Instagram or social media?
Yeah, Instagram. My name is Nicole NICOLE_Merlino MERLINO 14.
All right.
That's my Instagram.
Well, thank you so much for being on today. And I'd like to have you back again. We'll get into it more in religious and also not we don't just have to talk about religion. I think you're a talented broadcaster. I've watched a few of your vlogs and listened to your podcast a little bit, and I think you have a lot of potential, and I'm excited for your future.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. All right. So Adrian's going to sing a song for us right now, and it is what's it about?
It's about falling in love with someone.
Okay.
Finding love in unusual places.
All right.
Yeah, so.
There you go.
The
Okay.
song's called The Forest of My Heart.
Let's do it.
I close my eyes and I fall asleep, and I feel her arms and they're holding me. Feel her thighs and the hair on her giant feet. Her body is warm and I feel the heat. They say that a Yeti's a myth, but what about love? I'm in love with a Sasquatch woman. She's my missing link. Running through the forest of my heart, marking things with her pee. We met in the park where I used to play. She saw my face and she ran away. I killed a skunk and gave it to her as a gift. Her eyes lit up, she gave a Sasquatch kiss. They say that a Yeti is dangerous, but so is love. I'm in love with a Sasquatch woman. She's my missing link. Running through the forest of my heart, marking things with her pee. When I hear her voice, my heart beats like a drum. And I love the sound she makes when she comes. I'm in love with a Sasquatch woman. She's my missing link. Running through the forest of my heart, marking things with her feet.
Hold together. You're almost there.
I love her so. That was a little sharp. I just wrote
That's
this
okay.
yesterday.
That's fan-fucking-tastic.
Thanks, Bill.
I love. Now, did you think of what it would sound like to make a Sasquatch come? And you're like, not gonna write a song about it?
Bill, goddammit, that's precisely where it came from. No, actually, I was having phone sex with somebody.
Okay.
It's quarantine.
Yeah.
And mama's horny.
And so when she came, it sounded like that?
No, when I realized, I was like talking to her, we both had an orgasm.
You can do that on this one.
You know what I mean.
He's got one of those old Motorola's.
Right. I talk a good game, by
Yeah.
the way. We'll have,
That's
if
good,
you
that's
want to
good.
have phone sex sometime.
All right. I'm gonna take you up
And
on
if
that.
you guys want to have phone sex with me, just call the number. Bill.
Call the
What's
number.
the number?
Bring the number back up. It's 216-302-8783.
That's right. We'll have some hot, steamy convo,
Yeah.
chit chat. But no, and I thought about it. I was just like, I bet I sound a lot like what a Sasquatch would sound like when they ejaculate. I'm like, oh,
She got big Yeti tits.
oh my God, she's very attractive.
Okay.
She's very attractive.
Just a little hairy.
No, it's
Not the girl that you're phone sexting with. I'm talking about the Yeti.
my actual girlfriend.
Yeah, I'm talking about
Yes.
the Yeti.
Yeah, her she has very leathery palms.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's great, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode and watching this episode of the Bill Squire Show. Tell your friends about it. I think this is one of our best episodes yet. AJ, thanks for coming
No
on.
problem. I'm sorry for my voice. I was a little.
That's
my
all
voice
right.
wasn't
It doesn't
great,
matter. It doesn't
but-
matter. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
And I thought you sounded good.
Thanks, man.
So make sure you like, subscribe, share, tell some friends about this. If you're listening on an Apple Podcast, give me a 5-star rating. I'd appreciate that. And subscribe to the YouTube. That's big too. We're at over 200 subscribers now, trying to get to 1,000 by sooner than later. And that's all.
Thanks, Bill, for having me.
No problem.